Alright, everybody, here's just a couple of my thoughts lately. I have been thinking about faith and how much I don't seem to have it in my life the way I would like to, and how much a lot of people don't seem to have it. I'm sure it's very sad for the Lord to see His children so doubtful and so to and fro like waves from the sea, not knowing, not being able to trust in Him, not being able to turn to Him in the good and the bad and the ugly and the sad, when they're upset, when they're mad, when in anything. I'm sure it's very sad for Him. You know, it says in the Bible that the faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. You know, that's a pretty profound statement if you take it literally. The mustard seed is said to be one of the smallest seeds, you know, and I'm sure all of you guys have heard this in church, you know, if you're active church-going people. But, you know, what does a mustard seed of doubt do? That's what I want to know. What does a mustard seed of doubt do? If a faith of a mustard seed can move an entire mountain, what can that much doubt do? How much damage can that little tiny speck of doubt do? And having that much doubt cause a mountain to get in your way? Can having that much doubt cause you not to be able to trust in God at all? And in my life, I do not represent the faith of a mustard seed like I should. It's easy to have faith when everything's going great and everything's handed to you. It's another deal to have faith when everything's crashing around you. But I mean, what can a mustard seed of doubt do to your faith? You know, that really shows me that we're supposed to be all in. We're supposed to be on fire. We're supposed to be living, breathing, walking, talking in the Spirit, in the Lord, every second of every day. You know, that's the only way that you can block out the mustard seed of doubt. Do you know how cool it would be to look at a mountain and to tell it to move because it's in your way? That would be so cool to just be like, hey Mount Everest, I don't need to climb you, just scoot over a little bit. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? I think it'd be pretty awesome, you know, to say that to Mount Everest. But this is kind of random, but I was thinking about the Muslims. Did you know that the average Muslim prays more than the average Christian? Isn't that crazy? What is wrong with that picture? What's wrong with that? It amazes me to think that somebody could devote so much time of their life and their energy for something that's not true, for something that's a lie, you know. But then we look at ourselves and we think, how much time do we spend working those 9-to-5s that are only to better ourselves? Or how much time do we spend doing certain things that are only to better ourselves, only to help us in this world and not at the next? You know, it says that our treasures are in heaven, not on earth. And how much time do we spend trying to acquire the worldly things? So I guess it's not that hard to look at it when you think of it in those terms. But it is hard to fathom that somebody would be willing to strap explosives to themselves and to blow themselves up and other people for what they believe in. It's dedicated. It's dedicated. You know, it may not be right, and it's definitely not Yeshua Jesus that's telling them to do that, but they are showing dedication to something, and that is insane that they have the ability to sacrifice themselves in that manner for something they believe in. It's easy to say that we'll be willing to give our life up for Yeshua when you're sitting in front of your couch watching TV, but it's another thing to say that you would sacrifice your life when you're watching your friends and family be tortured and you're watching, you know, your loved ones be killed. It's real easy to say. So, I don't know, I was just thinking about how willing the Muslims are, how willing they are to fight for something that's wrong. How much more willing should we be, since we know we have the truth? The truth abides in us. The truth lives in us. How much more willing should we be? How much more dedicated should we be? What kind of an example should we be living? And they're willing to kill themselves for what they believe in, because they believe without a shadow of a doubt that they are right. They believe to the point where they don't care if they live or die. They have so much dedication that they are willing to die without question for what they believe in. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could die without a question. I don't know. Could you? I don't think anybody can ever really answer that question unless they've been there. I mean, not for real. Look at Yeshua's disciple. He even denied him 3 times. Who would have thought that somebody who walked with Yeshua, talked with him, lived with him, would deny him 3 times when things got a little rough, when things got a little shaky? Who would have thought? So who's to say that we are ready? Who's to say that we have the faith to withstand what's coming? The faith that can't be shaken or taken. The faith of a mustard seed. Who's to say rather we got a mustard seed of doubt in us? If it takes that tiny speck of faith to do something so enormous, who's to say that we can get away with having that little tiny speck of doubt in our lives? Who's to say that we can just walk as if it's not there and not be affected by that tiny speck of doubt on a day-to-day basis? Walking in faith is not an easy thing to do, but we know, it's obvious that it's so necessary. Anytime somebody was healed in the Bible, it almost always says, by your faith, you are made well. We gotta get right. The time to get right is not when things are bad. The time to get right is beforehand. That's why he says, I tell you all things beforehand. I've told you all things beforehand. He wants us to be ready. He wants us to be prepared like a soldier is going out to war. When a soldier is going to head into a massive battlefield, he doesn't walk out there naked. He doesn't walk out there hungry or thirsty. And he definitely doesn't walk out there without his captain. He walks out there following his leader, ready to go. He prepares while there's still rations on the table. He gets ready in every way possible. He trains, he prepares for the fight, and he goes out there and he fights. A war is coming. We have to learn to trust the Lord with all our heart, with all our mind, and with all our soul. This world will pass away, but Yeshua, Jesus, He will always be there. He will always remain. We have to learn to put our trust in Him, for He is the only one that can save us from what's to come.